In this video, I'll show you how to build the ultimate AI voice agent for a dental clinic. This intelligent receptionist will be available 24/7 to handle calls, book appointments, transfer emergencies, answer common questions, and even collect information from potential job applicants, automatically storing it into a database. This system is designed to handle a high volume of inbound calls, from simple questions to more complex inquiries. Its primary goal is to eliminate repetitive tasks and free up valuable time for your staff. If you're new to the channel, I'm Brendan Jowett. I'm based in Melbourne, Australia, and I've been running an AI automation agency, Inflate AI, for almost 2 years now. We specialize in building AI voice, chat, and automation agents designed to save time and money. So here's a quick demo of what we're going to be building.
Hello, welcome to Blue Dental Clinic. This is Emily speaking. How can I help you today?
Hey Emily, I was just looking to book a cleaning.
Thank you for reaching out. Before we get started, may I ask if this is an emergency or if you require immediate dental attention?
No, not an emergency, just a regular.
Great, thank you for confirming. To book your cleaning appointment, may I please have your first and last name?
You can access this template for completely free by joining my school community. Just follow the link in the description. With over 10,000 members, it's a great place to ask questions, share insights, and connect with like-minded people. So diving right in, this is Retail AI. This is sort of the central hub where everything gets put together so that we can start to build these voice agents. And if you are yet to sign up for Retail, I do have a link in the description. So to get started, just go to the top right corner and click the Create an Agent button. We're just gonna click on Voice Agent, and this is gonna bring us a bit of a pop-up here with a few different options as to what we can do. All we're gonna do for now is just click the Single Prompt Agent button, which is the top button here. And this is going to give us a couple of more options. We're not going to use any templates. I'm going to be building it from scratch, so you have a complete understanding as to how the system is built. So we'll just hit start from blank and then hit create. So once you've done that, you're going to land on this page right here. And this is going to be the main page for constructing, building your entire AI voice agent. So one of the main components of building an AI voice agent, building any sort of AI product in general, is going to be your prompt. So your prompt is going to be sort of an instruction set that is sent to the agent to read, to listen to really mimic, in order to build and construct that conversation that happens. And so if we just look at this big box right here, this is where we're going to be building the entire prompt. And this is really the majority of the work that's involved in building out one of these voice systems. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and start to build out a prompt and show you all the structures that's involved in building this prompt. So the first thing that I'm going to do is give you our structure that we use and start off with when building these prompts. And then I'll fill out each part of that structure and showcase exactly why I've done what I've done. After that, I'll jump into some of the other settings on the page here as well, but we'll get to them when they're actually needed. So the first thing that I'm going to do is jump into our prompt here, and I'm just going to paste this. So this is the structure that we use for all of our prompts, and whether that's a voice agent, a chat agent, an automation, just a single AI system that we're building, we're always going to use a structure that is relatively similar to this. And this is by no means a template that you should be following 100%. This is really just your starting guide. So we're going to start here and use this, but we're going to figure out probably later on that we might want to start to add some more sections. We might want to remove some sections, but this really just helps to get it started into breaking down all the main areas of the prompt that we want to get started with. So to get started, we're going to be building out a role. Defining the role is super important because we really need the agent to have complete context as to why it exists in the first place, what its goals are, what its sort of ultimate underlying purpose is. And that's really going to help it longer in the conversation when it starts to get more complex inquiries, more random inquiries. It really needs to be able to handle all of those edge cases, and without the proper context, it might fail at some point. So we're going to start off by giving it a name. So I'll get started by saying your name is Emily and you are a digital AI receptionist working with Blue Dental Clinic. Your purpose is to help callers have their questions answered and their appointments booked. You are a friendly assistant who will try to help out the best you can. So for the role, I've said your name is Emily. You are a digital AI receptionist working with Blue Dental Clinic. Your purpose is to help callers have their questions answered and their appointments booked. You are a friendly assistant who will try to help out the best you can. Now, that is obviously as rough as it gets. I've obviously just typed that right off the top of my head, but what I typically do is I'll take sort of rough idea as to what we want. And I'm actually going to just take this into ChatGPT to sort of rewrite it, expand on it a little bit, get some more adjectives in there, and that's going to help the prompt out just a little bit more. So coming back from ChatGPT, you can just give it a very basic prompt to rewrite it or add a little bit more. Paste that in. Your name is Emily, a digital AI receptionist for Blue Dental Clinic. Your role is to assist callers by answering their questions and helping them book appointments. You are a friendly and helpful virtual assistant dedicated to providing the best support possible. So a slight rewording on this last question here. Just a good tip to do as you're obviously writing these sentences. Obviously now with AI, we don't have to spend years going over the wordings. We can just use AI to write it and make it a little bit better. So jumping into the task. Now the task is going to be the main sort of objective of the call. What is the main reason that somebody is called in? And what is our task going to be to helping them out? So in this case, for this agent, we've got a few different call inquiry types, and we've got a few different things that the agent is going to be capable of doing. So if I just paste this in right here, these are a few different use cases that I've outlined as being useful for this particular assistant. So we're going to be doing first. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is collecting some information. So we're going to get their name, their email, their date of birth, their insurance provider, and their reason for visiting. Once we've captured that, we want to book appointments. So we actually want to book that directly into a calendar. We're going to be capturing obviously all of that information for that appointment, but also a time to book for. Then after this, we have the emergency call transfer. So we're going to set up a call transfer. So if there is an emergency, we can immediately transfer the call to somebody to handle this. And that can be, next we have the emergency call transfers. So if somebody details that they need immediate help, we can just transfer the call to somebody as soon as that happens, and we can set up a function to do that. After that, we also want to answer FAQ questions, your frequently asked questions, as well as just any sort of supporting information, knowledge-based documents, things like that. We want to be able to provide some context, whether that's just information about their services, opening hours, everything like that. We want the assistant to know that it has the capability to answer those questions. Then after that, we have a hiring flow, and this is going to be for sort of dental assistants that want to sort of inquire if they're calling in and they want to get a job. We're going to have a flow to be able to handle that. This is mostly just to showcase the use case of a Google Sheets integration. And we'll also ask them some questions on the call as well as sort of a qualification process. We can even ask them a few questions as well during the call and just use that as a qualification process and then send it to Google Sheets. So taking this list of tasks that we have here, putting it into ChatGPT, I've gone ahead and generated this, which is obviously just a more nicely formatted instruction set for the AI to obviously understand what is its purpose, what are we going to be actually doing on these calls, and what capabilities do I have to be able to actually help people out. So in this case, you help patients book appointments based on their needs and available time slots. In case of emergencies, you identify urgent situations and quickly transfer the call to the appropriate staff member. You also answer frequently asked questions about the clinic's services, hours, insurance, and other general inquiries. Additionally, you assist in the hiring process for dental assistants by providing job information, collecting applications, and scheduling interviews. So we'll probably just remove this last part here as we're not going to be doing all of this in this particular use case. We might just be providing some job information and collecting applications. We can just remove the last part and add in that there. So now we have a nicely formatted task here. So it's going to be able to follow along with, really understand exactly all the different sort of inquiry types that it's going to be expecting and the way it should be handling that. So the next part of our prompt is going to be the specifics. So the specifics is really just detailing exactly when different pathways should be gone down. So for example, if we have an emergency, we need to be able to classify that through some sort of criteria to understand that it is an emergency and that this call does need to be transferred, because obviously we don't want every call to be transferred. So we do need some sort of criteria, and we'll put that into the specifics section. And the same goes for booking appointments. Obviously in the specifics, we have a whole host of things that we need to capture in order to book an appointment. And we're just going to put that into the specifics. So it's going to really look at that part of the prompt to understand what exactly do I need in order to execute this particular task. So what I'm going to do under the specifics part of this prompt is add in 2 different hashtags. So you may have noticed the use of hashtags throughout this prompt, and that is the purpose of markdown formatting. So markdown formatting is where we are actually structuring our prompt into different sections. So exact same way that we're sort of building out Word documents with your sort of larger heading 1, which is your big heading. And then below that, you have your subheading. It's exactly exactly the same as what we're doing here. It's just that we can't actually see the actual titles being bigger and the little text being smaller. We just add in these hashtags, and that is exactly the same way that Markdown formatting works. And this is just really great. It's a great prompt engineering tip because it's going to be able to help the AI really structure what information relates to what. It's going to be able to get that information correlated to each other really quickly. And so it's going to be quicker at answering questions, and it's also going to be a lot smarter. But anyways, under specifics, I'm just going to type booking appointments. And ultimately, this is going to be our entire instruction set for booking appointments. What is required from start to finish to book an appointment. So the first thing that we're going to capture is going to be the name. So obviously we want to capture the name of the person calling in that wants to book an appointment. So we can just go ahead and say, first, you must select the caller's first and last name. Under that, we can just say, second, you must collect the caller's date of birth. Third, you must collect the caller's insurance provider name. Fourth, you must collect the caller's reason for visiting. Then after this, we can say, once this is collected, please ask the caller when they would like to book their appointment. The caller must provide the exact date and time. Once this is captured, check the availability of their time. If the time is available to book, please book the appointment. If the time is not available, please ask them to provide new booking time. So under our specifics, just for booking appointments, first, you must collect the caller's first and last name. Second, you must collect the caller's date of birth. Third, you must collect the caller's insurance provider name. Fourth, you must collect the caller's reason for visiting. Once this is collected, please ask the caller when they would like to book their appointment. The caller must provide the exact date and time. Once this is captured, please check the availability of their time. If the time is available to book, please book the appointment. If the time is not available, please ask them to provide a new booking time. So that is really going to be everything required in terms of starting from start to the end in terms of booking an appointment. Now we actually have to connect this to some functions. But before we do that, I'm just going to give this a quick test to see if it actually works at this current state. And we'll just click on the test LLM in the top right here. And what we can do is do a manual chat. So the manual chat, we can essentially just talk to it back and forth over text. That way we don't have to obviously call it every single time. And I can just go ahead and just say hello, and we'll see how it sort of responds to us. So, hello, thank you for calling Blue Dental Clinic. How can I assist you today? I would like to book an appointment. Of course, I'd be happy to help you book an appointment. May I please have your first and last name? So I'll provide my first and last name. Thank you. Could you please provide your date of birth? So I can just provide a random date in here. Thank you, Brendan. Could you please let me know what the name of your insurance provider? I could just call it the Red Team Insurance. Thank you. What is your reason for visiting? For example, routine cleaning, tooth pain, filling consultation, etc. So I could just say cleaning, and then great. Thank you. When would you like to book your cleaning appointment? Tomorrow at 3 p.m. Check your availability. Yes, we have an opening. So there you go. It's obviously been able to ask all of the questions that we were looking to ask and be able to obviously work with each step-by-step process. Now, one big thing to note is that this is obviously a very rough prompt. This is going to be modified a lot as you start to test it. Testing is a very big factor when it comes to these voice agents, and this works quite well right now. Although as you start to scale this and add more context to this entire prompt, it is possible and most likely from our experience going to be necessary to continue to iterate on this prompt. For example, we'll probably need to add in some stricter prompt conditioning so that it always asks each of these questions and add in some reasons as to why we need to ask each of these questions. Add in some, very strict guardrails to make sure that it does so, making sure that it reads it in the right order as well. A lot of that stuff is going to be required, but you'll only really notice that it is required after you start to scale the system. So it works great here, but that is just one big thing to note about prompt engineering and just building these systems in general. But anyways, at the bottom here, you can see that it says that we had an opening. This is obviously not true because it's not connected to any real system. At the moment, we now are going to plug this into some real functions. So if you have watched some of my previous videos, you'll know that I went ahead and built out a complete voice agent appointment booking automation on make.com. This automation is capable of checking the availability of your entire calendar on cal.com, as well as obviously booking the appointments, but also rescheduling appointments, as well as canceling appointments. And so if you do want to get access to these templates, once again, you can just join my free school community using the link in the description. You can literally just copy and paste it and start using it. There are a few steps involved in terms of your cal.com API keys and calendar ID, which I'll cover right now as well. But otherwise, to get started, this right here is my check availability template. And so all this does is takes a time that you'd like to book for, It runs through everything required in order to find out whether or not that time is available to be booked in for. And it's going to obviously respond back and let you know either yes or no, that's the time that can work. And so we can plug this at the moment directly into our voice agent and it will start working. What I have done is if you click on these blue little modules right here, these are the cal.com modules. And so these are the only modules that you'll need to modify to get working for yourself. So this right here is cal.com. Cal.com is very similar to Calendly. If you used Calendly before, this is what we're using for the appointment booking. Obviously, this is not the only thing that you can use for appointment booking with these voice agents. We can plug into thousands of different apps, whether or not you have a specific CRM, we can build a custom automation for as well. But this is just a template that can be quite widely used for many different industries and use cases. So this is a good thing to learn anyways. But otherwise, all you need to do is just sign up for a free account. This is not even a paid account. You can do quite a lot on their free plan. Once you've created an event, which will generate automatically, if you just click into your event, what you'll see at the top of your URL, which you might not be able to see on my screen at the moment, but in the URL is actually a little number which you can copy. And if you take that number, head over to make.com, click into the HTTP request, just scroll down a little bit, you'll see an event type ID. All you need to do is just swap that out with your specific event type to obviously access that event to book in for. And then the only other thing that you need to change is the API key. So coming back to our account, hitting the settings button and going down to the API keys, you'll see here, we can just generate an API key. It's super simple. Hit the add button, make sure it doesn't expire. We can just type in test right there and it's just gone ahead and generated an API key that will never expire. We can just copy this, paste that right here, and we can automatically start to connect with our cal.com account and the specific event that you want to book for. You have to make sure to replace that for obviously each individual module connects to cal.com. Once that's done, it is ready to go and you can start using it. So in order to connect this to Retail AI, all we have to do is come to the start of the automation with the webhook. We'll click on this right here and click copy address to clipboard. This is a webhook. So this is how we can communicate from one app to another. Ultimately, we're just going to copy that, come back to Retail right now, click on the functions, click add and go down to custom function. Once we're in here, we're going to paste the URL in the your URL section. And then once we've done that, I've just gone ahead and added in some parameters that we're going to be using to send off to our automation. And it's going to use that to obviously just understand exactly when the caller was looking to book for. And then it's going to pull back the actual information from the automation when it runs into webhook response. So this right here, once again, you'll be able to just copy it from the school community. But ultimately, all this is sort of just an AI prompt to get the right information out of the transcript. And so you'll see here, we're essentially setting a variable called booking time. We've typed out a description, which is also sort of a prompt that just says, this is when the user wants to book for. For example, tomorrow at 2 p.m. Today at 1 p.m, next Monday at 5 p.m, 17th of March at 4 p.m. Please don't format this, keep it how the user said it. So we just want to get the complete natural language text written out, spoken out format of the date, and it's going to send that off to our automation to process and deal with and send us back exactly what we're looking for. So it is quite simple. We're not using any sort of static variables and we're just going to call it a required. So this is required obviously in order to run this function. Once again, you're about to copy this all for yourself. Once that's done, just come back to the top here and we're just going to give it a name. So obviously this is just going to be used for check, calendar, availability. And this is pretty important because this is going to be used from the actual AI itself to understand exactly what the function is used for. So we do need it to obviously detect that this function is available to check the appointments. So just say trigger this to check the calendar's ability for booking. And then we can just go ahead and hit save. Make sure you add some underscores because you can't actually add spaces in between them, but we'll hit save and then they'll go ahead and create our first function. So we'll go ahead and test if this thing's actually working. We'll click on the manual chat, just converse with it a little bit and just ask it that we would like to book an appointment. So I want to check the calendar for 3 p.m. tomorrow. So we just got a response back here. It's sort of a big, long response that we've got. Now, this is one thing to actually note. In terms of building this agent, we obviously don't want each question to be read out one by one like this. This wouldn't be a great experience to listen to. And so what we'll have to do is add in a little bit of prompt conditioning, like I mentioned earlier, as being important for this. And so what we can do is essentially just say to read out each question one by one. So we can add a note here. Otherwise, we can add at the bottom, please read out the following questions one by one. So we'll do that simply at the moment and just see if that fixes it for now. So I'll come back and restart our conversation. Start from the start. I would like to book for 3 p.m. Perfect. Write my name. It's obviously asked the one question, which is perfect. provide the date of birth. And then we have it. So we've gone ahead and checked the calendar availability. If I just click into here, we can see here our booking time was registered as 3 p.m. tomorrow. So perfect. It got sent through as we had outlined. And then the tool result here said the requested time slot at 3 p.m. for tomorrow was a bit unavailable. So they actually provided some alternative time slots as well, which is awesome. So we weren't able to book in for 3 p.m. tomorrow, which is true. I actually am not available 3 p.m. tomorrow. So it did exactly what it should have. And then it says it looks like the 3 p.m. slot is unavailable. We've got some other slots here in the morning. And then obviously you can just go back and forth and work with it. So perfect. That is now working. Once that is all set up, we are now going to jump into the appointment booking template directly. And so this is going to be, once again, all available for free with my school community in the link. Now we're going to jump into the direct appointment booking template. So now we're not only just looking at when we can book for, but actually directly booking into the calendar in this case as well. And so this is also not just booking, but it's also canceling appointments. So somebody calls back and says, I'd like to cancel my appointment. It's going to be able to handle that. If somebody wants to reschedule their appointment, it's going to be able to handle that as well. So there are a few different flows here, but ultimately it is very much the same process as the other template. All you need to do is come through and look at these blue modules, which are the HTTP requests to cal.com, swap out the event ID with yours, swap out the API key with yours, and it will be connected directly with your system to start working. And you can just clone this template once again from my free school community. It's going to be linked in the description and you can just copy paste it into your account. So what I'll do is go ahead to the webhook. I'm just going to go ahead and click copy address to clipboard. I'm going to jump back into retail, click on add and click custom function. I'm just going to paste the URL in here once again. So once we've done that, I've just gone ahead and added in some parameters once again for the appointment booking as well. These parameters are a little bit more extensive than the checking availability. So we are going to need a few different values in order to obviously book an appointment. So if you look here in this first parameter, we have a variable for the name. So this is the name of the user. That's going to be obviously coming from the name they provided us with. Booking type, this is the type of booking they would like to make, either a new booking, reschedule, or cancellation. So this is needed, obviously, if they're going to be a new appointment's going to be booked, they're looking to reschedule, or they're looking to cancel. This is something that we're going to obviously be able to pick up from the transcript. Below this, the booking time, so exactly the same as before. Then we have the email address. So this is a question that I actually didn't add in, so I'll have to add that back in. This is the email address of the user provided for the booking. Then below this, we've got a reschedule time and cancel time. This is obviously only relevant for those that are looking to cancel or reschedule, and that's obviously going to be able to work if it needs to, but these are not required fields. If I scroll down even a little bit more, booking time, name, booking type, and email, these are all the required fields that we're going to be using. We obviously aren't going to need to reschedule and cancel every single time. So once that is all filled out, once again, you're going to be able to copy this from the school community. But if I jump up to the name here, I can just go ahead and type in book appointments, trigger this when the user would like to book an appointment, and we'll hit save. So let's give this a test, see if it actually works. Manual chat. Hello, I would like to book for tomorrow at 3 p.m. Brendan. And so as expected, through our prompt, it's gone ahead and checked the availability for the time that we wanted to book for, that we actually mentioned all the way at the start of the conversation, exactly as we had planned on. As obviously in our prompt, we want to start by checking availability, then we want to book. It's gone ahead and done that. We aren't available at 3 p.m. So I'll just say 11 a.m. is fine. Hopefully it should go ahead and just book that appointment right after this. And so it looks like this actually failed to work. And the reason for this is because, once again, I actually just forgot to collect the email. So it went ahead and didn't have an email value. So that was a required field. So it did actually fail. So I'll just quickly restart this and add in a part of the conversation to capture an email. So I'll just click here. Okay. So I've just updated the prompt to capture the email as well. And this should work perfectly now that we've done that. So there we have it. It's gone ahead and now worked with the email address. Obviously, this is specifically set up to be able to book directly into a calendar of the other user. And so we do need an email to obviously accept that invite. But there we go. We've just booked for 9 a.m. And if I go ahead and check my calendar, we can see that we have received the 15-minute meeting between myself at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. So that has obviously gone ahead and worked perfectly. So the first part, and really the major part of this system, booking appointments, is now complete. It's all working. We can check availability individual of booking the appointment, and that is all set up, running, and functional. The next part of the system was going to be emergency call transfers. So if somebody's calling in and they need immediate attention, we are going to be able to transfer the call directly from our system to somebody else's number that can pick up right away and assist with their request. So we can very simply do that underneath our booking appointments section. So we'll do, once again, 2 different hashtags, and we'll just say emergency requests. If the user has stated they require immediate attention, please go down this path, or have an emergency, please go down this path. So if the user has stated they require immediate attention, or have an emergency, please go down this path. That's one thing that we're going to state, but one thing that we will do as well to really make sure that we are capturing those who have an emergency is that in the booking appointments flow, we're going to add an additional question to make sure that before we try to book an appointment, is it an emergency, to really make sure that it's been clarified. So what I'll go ahead and do is just type, so first, please ask the caller if this is an emergency. If it is, please go down the emergency path. So a little bit of conditioning, would definitely recommend it. There are going to be two different pathways that are somewhat similar. So we'll go ahead and just say once the user has confirmed that it is an emergency, please transfer the call. And that is it. In terms of the prompt side of it, is actually super simple to transfer calls, especially on retail. If we just click the add button here, we can click on the call transfer, and this is going to give us a few different options as to how we can take our AI conversation and direct it into obviously the human on the other side of the phone. Automatically, there is a name and description for this function of transfer call and transfer the call to a human agent. You can modify this a little bit to say transfer the call to a human agent for emergencies. And then under this, we can just add in the phone number that you want to transfer to, of course. And then there are two different types of call transfers. So we have a cold transfer as well as a warm transfer. So a cold transfer is if we just send a call directly to somebody else without any context as to what that call is about. So if they pick up on the other side of the phone, it's just going to be that person sitting there and waiting there for you to pick up, and you're just going to start the conversation again. Otherwise, we can do a warm transfer, which is quite interesting. What will happen is that it will actually summarize the transcript. It will summarize what's just been called about through the person who's just picked up the phone. So they get a little bit of context as to what the call's about. And so obviously in order to do that, it requires some sort of an AI prompt in order to understand exactly what to summarize and what to talk about. And that's exactly what happens right here. So you can just type in a prompt that just says, please summarize this, find all the main points, and specifically state exactly why they've called in for. Something like that will be perfect. But otherwise, we're just going to start with a cold transfer for now. But ultimately, once that's done, that's ready to go. It's going to understand that transferring the call is going to relate to the transfer call function. So that will work seamlessly. And now the emergency requests are all set up. And once again, for complete clarification, this is obviously a very rough, out of the box, not a production ready prompt whatsoever. If you are going to be building a production ready prompt, you are going to have to test it quite extensively in order to obviously solve all of the edge cases, especially if you're going to be handling emergencies. Something that we would do obviously with a typical client is spend weeks actually going through all the different edge cases and situations and scenarios of types of calls that would come through to really make sure that the emergencies that come through do get transferred, the appointments that come through do get booked. These are the processes that we would go through, obviously, with a real client. The next part of our agent is going to be the knowledge base. So the knowledge base is where we upload a series of information, whether that's opening hours, service information, just any type of general information, and FAQ questions that are going to be answered on the call. This is where we're going to upload it so that it has all of the knowledge and context to be able to answer those questions live on the call. Now, there are two different ways that we can upload knowledge base information into our agent. And so specifically on retail, we have the capability to go into the knowledge base section right here. Now, the knowledge base section is where we directly upload a series of files, whether that's a PDF, a Word document, a text document. We upload it all directly through here. The alternative way, and the slightly better way, but there are some limitations to it, is to directly upload all of that information into the prompt, this right here itself. And so the benefit of uploading information directly into the prompt is going to be the fact that it gets more context. It's going to be able to directly refer to any information that's stored in our prompt at any time, very quickly, very accurately. Although the issue is that we can't upload that much information. We do have a token limit, a sort of context limit for this particular prompt, which means if we go ahead and just shove in a bunch of information from a 300-word PDF, that's just not going to work quite well. It's going to start to slow the system down. It's going to be far more expensive, not efficient whatsoever to do that. But for smaller and more important information, definitely put that into the prompt. So to show you, I am going to go ahead and create a brand new sort of section of prompts here specifically for our knowledge base. This is required if you are going to be putting in knowledge base information into the prompt itself. And so I'll just create knowledge base right here, and we can just start to add in whatever we'd like in terms of answering questions about the business. So I've just gone ahead and generated a bunch of information from ChatGPT, obviously mock information about Blue Dental Clinic, and it's provided some information that we can use for our knowledge base. So this is about the level of information that you would want to include for your sort of knowledge base about the business. Can handle more than this, but obviously if you are going to be uploading a big brochure, a big PDF, the knowledge base is going to be the area to do that. But for the most part, we've added in a location, some opening hours, Monday through Sunday, some more information about the actual clinic, some of the services that it provides, one of the actual dentists that are within the organization, and obviously some locations as well that are in here. And that's obviously going to be great for being able to immediately answer questions about their opening hours, about their location, about their dentists. That's kind of the place to put all of that information. And if you did want to add some more information, maybe some FAQs into this, you could add in sort of once again, the sort of subheading of FAQs. And what we'll do is just add in this right here, once again, generated by ChatGPT, but it's a really good format just to do the question at the top and then the answer right below it. And that's just going to give our system a lot more context as to what this company is about, what the organization provides, what the address is, what the opening hours are, things like that. We're going to add directly into here. And so to ultimately test it, we'll click into the manual chat and we'll just ask, what are your opening hours? And then we go, our clinic is open Monday to Sunday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. We are closed on Sundays. If you'd like to book an appointment or have any other questions, I'm here to help. So perfect, was able to answer directly from here, immediately, quickly, and accurately, pretty well from our knowledge base. Now, once again, if we are going to be uploading more extensive knowledge base information, what we can do is click the add button here, click down to add new knowledge base. It's going to load up a different page here where we actually are going to be able to click here and we can start to add in some more extensive documents. So we can crawl a website. So you can just upload the website directly, upload some files. So we can actually upload, once again, PDFs, documents, things like that, less than 100 megabytes. And then we can add some text manually as well. So we can just type in some text. So pretty extensive as to what we can upload. I would always recommend adding the most critical information directly into the prompt. So we've now got an AI voice agent that is going to be able to check the availability of the calendar. It's now going to be able to book appointments based on the availability of the calendar. It's also going to be able to transfer calls if there is an emergency. And it also has the ability to obviously answer general FAQ questions, opening hours, service information, everything like that. It can answer instantly 24/7. And the last feature that I'm going to add is going to be a hiring flow. So this is going to be a flow where if somebody is calling in and wants to get a job there, they want to become a dental assistant, we're going to have a flow that is going to be able to ask a couple of questions about them. And then we're going to take that information and send it into a Google Sheet to actually store that information for the owners to look at. So coming back up to the top of our script here, we've got these specifics. And just on top of this, I'm actually going to add it before the booking of appointments. We're going to add in, once again, the subheading, and we're going to call this the hiring flow. Please go down this path if the caller is interested in getting a job with us. First, please ask them their full name. Next, please ask them which position they are looking for. So I've just gone ahead and typed out a series of questions that we could ask the particular caller that we've identified is looking for a job. So please go down this path. If the caller is interested in getting a job with us, first, please ask them for their full name. Next, please ask them which position they're looking for. Please ask them why they'd like to actually work with us. Please ask them for their qualifications. And once this information is captured, please send the information to our database. So we're going to be able to ask all these questions, capture that, and then send that to the specific database, which in this case, I'm going to set up a Google Sheets. So I've just gone ahead and created this very quick Google Sheet with the name of hiring form. At the moment, it's blank, and we're just going to connect directly into this using make.com. So jumping into make.com, I'm going to click on the webhooks button right here. I'm going to click on custom webhook. Once this webhook is generated, we're going to click on add. Once we've done this, I'm going to go ahead and give it a name. So in our case, this is a hiring form. I'll click save. This is going to generate our address. I'll hit save once again. Back to retail, we'll click add custom function, paste the URL in there. We'll give it a name. We'll call it the hiring flow database. Below this, trigger this when the caller has their information, their job information for our database. Below this, we'll create some parameters. So I'll just click on the example button at the bottom here, example 3, and let's go ahead and fill out some of these properties in order to send information from our prompt to our make automation. So I am just going to remove some of the default values here. So remove this, and the first thing that we'll capture is their full name. So I'm just going to type name, and then we're just going to replace the description, which is sort of the AI prompt. This is the full name of the caller. Below that, we've got an additional property here of doctor name. Once again, I'm just going to remove this and type this as position. This is the position the caller is looking to apply for. In order to add additional variables to capture, we're just going to select this part here and captcha all the way up to here, and we'll just paste once again. Place position with why they want to work with us. Very simply, there's no rules as to what you can name these things. So we'll just type, this is the reason they are looking to apply for a job. Thus, then below this, we'll copy that again, paste it again. After the why question, we'll get the qualifications. These are the qualifications of or replace that with caller. And right after that, that's pretty much it. So in terms of the required fields, we can just replace these as not all being required if they don't provide all the information. Hit format JSON, and we'll just hit the save button. First up, we'll just test that our webhook actually works. We'll just hit run once. Once we got that going, I'll head back to retail, click on the manual chat, and I'll just say, hi, I'd like to apply for a dental assistant job. Should go through and ask us our questions, full name. So there we go. I've just gone ahead and filled that out. I just told it that I like the dental assistant job, my name, my years of experience, and that I like teeth as my reason for wanting to apply for the job. Tool has gone ahead and been sent out to our database. It's been detected, and the tool result says that it's worked. Coming back here, we'll click on the call itself, or the arguments, and there we go. We've got the why they're looking to book, the position, their name, and their qualifications have all come through as well. So that's perfect. And what we can very easily do, click on the plus button, click into Google Sheets. And what we're going to do is add a brand new row. Then we'll just click on the spreadsheet ID. We'll click on the specific form from our Google Sheets. Now, obviously you will have to connect into your Google account in order to get access to that sheet. Sheet name is just sheet 1. We've got no headings at the moment, but just to prove the point that we can do this, we'll click on our first one here, and we'll just start to add in all of the different values that we've just sent through. We'll hit save, and we can turn this on to actually start working. We can just jump out of here, hit save changes, and we're going to give this another call, and we'll see if this actually works. Hey, I was looking to apply to become a dental assistant.
That's great to hear. We're always looking for talented individuals to join our team at Blue Dental Clinic. To get started, may I please have your full name? Also, could you tell me a bit about your qualifications and why you're interested in applying for the dental assistant position?
Yeah, so my name is John Smith. I've got about 10 years of experience, and I'm mostly interested just because I really like teeth.
Thank you, John. I've recorded your interest in the dental assistant position along with your experience and reason for applying. Our hiring team will review your information and may reach out to you soon for the next steps.
So that went ahead and worked right there. It went through our webhook and straight to the Google Sheets. Jumping into our Google Sheets, we can now see all of those answers that I just provided. John Smith, 10 years of experience, dental assistant, and a reason as well. So perfect. That has all come through, and there we go. We can now communicate directly to a Google Sheet to start to store information, and hopefully you can now really start to see what the flexibility is with a system like this, the ability to actually prompt certain bits of information out of our transcript live on the call. So we can start to send information to a Google Sheet. We can send information to obviously a specific CRM system. And not only can we send information outwards, but we can retrieve information as well. So if we want to actually access some sort of a form, we can start to retrieve information to answer questions, find some detailed specific information as well. There's a lot that we can do with these systems. If you found this video helpful whatsoever, I'd really appreciate if you could like the video down below and drop a comment. If you have any questions, I respond to every comment, so I'm happy to help out where I can. And if you haven't yet checked out my previous video, I walked through some real client results with an AI voice agent that was actually generating upwards of $400,000 a month.